All right, we'll call the local Williams County Board of Equalization meeting to order at 10 a.m. Tuesday, June 4th. Beth, will you call roll?
Barry,
Here.
Corey,
Here.
Bo,
Here.
and David is absent.
We have a quorum. We will continue or proceed. All right, item B.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners, members of the public. I'm Darcy Anderson. I am the Williams County Tax Director, and we have prepared this 2024 assessment report for Williams County. This report includes specific information regarding our assessment season this year, as well as general information about the process. The specific requirements for the assessment of property are established in North Dakota Century Code, and the law requires that all real property be valued at true and full value, which is defined as the market value as of February 1st. The estimated market values established through this assessment are based on actual real estate market trends of the Williams County properties taking place from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st of 2023. And then we use our mass appraisal system to determine individual properties. The starting point of the assessment of real property is true and full value under North Dakota state statute. For property classified as residential or commercial, true and full value means its market value, or the price a property would pay if it were on the market for a reasonable length of time and purchased by a willing buyer from a willing seller and under no undue pressures. The assessors are historians and measure the market based on sales which have occurred previous to the assessment date. We do not create the value or predict what the market will do, but follow the pattern set by the real estate market. Information of the sales of real estate is of paramount importance to our office in a market-based property tax system. All the sales that occur within this year timeline are closely scrutinized by our office, and evidence suggesting anything of a forced sale, additional personal property, sale to a relative, or anything other than arm's length transaction will discard the sale from the sales study. We are charged with setting estimated market values for tax purposes at actual market value. The relationship between the sales prices to estimated market value is called the sales ratio. North Dakota state statute requires for all classes of property a median ratio of 90 to 100%. We make every effort to ensure that each class of property in the county meets this target as consistently as possible to ensure an equitable distribution of the property tax burden. State statute also requires the assessor's office to send a notice of increase to all property owners whose property value increased 10% and $3,000 over last year's assessment. There were 1,173 notices sent this year, compared with 850 last year. The sales statistics presented in our residential sales report are based on our data collected from the sales that occurred between January 1st and December 31st of 2023. Sales prices we found decreased a little over last year's with the average sales price being $301,121 as compared to $308,466. There were 97 usable residential sales compared with 147 in the prior year. Residential properties in Williams County sold on average 13% higher than they were valued. The overall sales ratio for residential properties was 88.1%. As we are required by the State Board of Equalization to be between 90 and 100%, individual areas and styles of construction were adjusted as indicated by their sales. Residential true and full value increased $68,309,300. Over $21 million in valuation was added to the tax roll from just new construction. Manufactured home taxation is somewhat different than real property taxation. They are assessed on the permit system when an individual owns the home but not the land. They are assessed in December of each year based on the previous year's market. The tax statements are then computed and the former mill levy is used. The major difference between manufactured homes and real property is manufactured homes pay taxes in January for the coming year, while real property pays in December for the prior year. There are currently 761 homes on permit in the county. For our commercial sales studies, the state tax department requires at least 30 sales to create a market. This year, there were 49 sales, and all of the ratio studies are included in your addendum. The overall commercial ratio is 85.5%. Since that ratio does fall outside of the 10% tolerance, we did analyze the properties by style of construction and made adjustments where necessary. Commercial true and full value increased $133,710,163. Over $10.5 million of new construction was added to the commercial valuation. We also continued our partnership with Thomas Y. Pickett and Company to assess the industrial sites and saltwater disposals within the county. The value of structures is placed on the, The income approach to valuation was applied to the apartment buildings in Missouri Ridge and Tyrone Townships. Questionnaires regarding income and expenses were sent out to each apartment owner, and not one owner or on-site manager for the apartments in Tioga responded to our request for information, including direct phone calls. Because of the inability to gain the data necessary, we had to value the apartments in Tioga on the cost to build method for 2024. Vacant lots were also reviewed. Each jurisdiction, vacant land does not include agricultural land, but is usually located within a subdivision or sublot. There were 28 vacant sales, and the ratio for vacant lots was 81.7. We made adjustments accordingly in certain jurisdictions. For our agricultural land, it is not valued in the same manner as residential and commercial properties. It is valued by the Department of Agribusiness and Applied Economics at NDSU based on a computer model, and by law becomes a true and full value. The model incorporates production, capitalization rate, and cost of production indexes. All ag land in Williams County is digitized by the GIS system and is valued by soil productivity, with adjustments made for fenced pasture, saline, alkali, and inundated land. Those numbers can be found in the 2024 soils chart in your appendix. This year, cropland increased 5%, while non-crop soils did not change. On the next page, you can see the chart that shows the 10-year history of the average dollar per acre for overall cropland and non-cropland. So I would recommend that residential property be left as a class at the level presented. In reviewing the ratio adjustment worksheet below, residential property is assessed at 92.16% of market and would need an increase of 8.51% to reach the statutory level of 100%. The State Board of Equalization does allow a 10% tolerance level. For commercial, I recommend that they be left as a class at the level presented. In reviewing the worksheet, commercial property is assessed at 91.47 of market and would need an increase of 9.33 to reach the statutory level of 100%. I would also recommend that agricultural property be left as a class at the level presented. The agricultural property is assessed at 93% of market and would need an increase of 7.5 to reach the statutory level of 100, which is within the 10% tolerance level. For your information, every city with a population over 5,000 is required to develop their own individual statistics. The City of Williston report was presented to the City Commission prior to this meeting, and none of the statistics in your book relate to the City of Williston. Those numbers are all taken out. We do have a map for you at the front showing the assessment districts within our office and who is assigned. We do not have any local assessors anymore. All commercial and residential properties in Williams County were assessed using our CAMA program from Vanguard. This is a computer-assisted mass appraisal system to promote better equity and reduces a lot of human error and opinion. This cost manual is what we start our assessments with and temper using our local sales. We also implement Sidwell Farms for our ag land values. This program allows us to map out the different soils present in the county, as well as areas that qualify for modifier use or are not accessible as agriculture. Mapping the soils in this way allows for greater accuracy and specificity in our assessments. And the next several pages are charts for your enjoyment. The first is the breakout of commercial, ag, and residential property as it pertains to the whole assessment. The next page is the 10-year history of property values. You can see overall our change was 3.72% over last year. The next page is a breakout of all the exemptions that our office grants. These are properties that apply every year for their exemption as stated in North Dakota Century Code. And their applications are on the desk if you wish. So even though we are not here to talk about taxes today, we are here to talk about assessments and values. We do invariably get some questions about property taxes. So the property tax system has three elements: the budget, which is set by the taxing authorities; the valuation, which is a reflection of the buyers and sellers; and then the taxation part, which is where the budgets are divided by the taxable value and the mill levies are then set. So we just have a general breakout for a property in Tioga City, and where each breakout of the total mill levy goes and how much that is in tax dollars. And then we have the history of our mill levies for Williams County and the city of Williston. And you can see that the mill levy has substantially dropped since 2014. Are there any questions on the report?
Nothing for me. Anybody else? I do have one clarifying question. Industrial is bundled in with commercial, is that
Correct.
correct?
There are only 3 classes of property in North Dakota. Ag land is well-defined in Century Code, residential is well-defined in Century Code, and everything else is commercial.
Thank you. Okay. Did you move, where are we at then on the presentation or on the agenda?
Number 2,
Okay. Go ahead and proceed when you're ready.
okay. You have to open the
Oh,
public hearing.
not number 2 on annual report. I apologize.
Oh, you've got different numbers. Open public hearing for the local board of equalization. As the county commission, you guys sit as the local board of equalization for any unorganized township or city, so.
Okay. We're going to open the public hearing for the unorganized townships. Looking for any comments and/or protests from the audience. And this is Cow Creek Township, Golden Valley Township, Hoffland, Nesson Valley, New Hope, Wheelock, City Unorganized. That's these areas. Go ahead and approach if you're in this, any of those townships.
Appam is organized.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
it's unorganized, but we're recording. Appam is considered part of the township that it's in, so it's, the city itself is not, it was never organized, so when, what is Appam? Blue Ridge, when we talk about the rest of the county, you can come up for Blue Ridge.
Okay.
That's okay.
No, And we only do this meeting once a year, so if it seems a little bit wonky, that's this guy right here. Again, we'll call for public comment from Cow Creek, Golden Valley, Hoffland Township, Nesson Valley Township, New Hope Township, Wheelock, City Unorganized. Any comments or protests from those unorganized townships? Okay, third and final ask for any public comments from Cow Creek, Golden Valley, Hoffland, Nesson Valley, New Hope, and Wheelock City Unorganized. Okay, seeing no comment, we'll close the public hearing.
My office received no formal protests for the unorganized area, so we can skip that. However, we do have one correction on page 2 of your book after the bright green sheet. We do have a property for John White and Tina White in Paradise Point where we discovered some property information that was not reflected in our assessment that had been there before February 1st. So. Leah, do you want to say what you all picked? So yeah, you have a bright green thick page.
There were several items in the build that were not picked up at the time it was built, and I'd never actually gotten into that property to review it. And so it was brought to our attention that there were some significant updates. I didn't have some of the bathrooms updated. I didn't have the back porch updated. There was a shed on the back of the house that had never been picked up either. There was some finish on the interior of the garage that had never been picked up. So it's little things like that that equated to this large jump this year.
Okay, what are the wishes of the board?
Are we taking this one at a time, or we just wait till the
This,
end?
you take these, this one we'll take right now. Anytime there's a finding and a motion under the page, we would do it then.
Okay,
I move that a finding be made that correction item number 1 listed above as noted in the minutes has been reviewed by Williams County Board of Equalization, sitting as local Board of Equalization for Nesson Valley Township.
is there a second? Oh, the finding.
Well, you can do both.
I move that the 2024 true and full values of correction, item number 1 listed above as noted in the minutes be adjusted as recommended.
Okay, now is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote?
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, so now we can open the County Board of Equalization.
Okay, we're going to open the public hearing for County Board of Equalization. Now, you may come on up if you'd like to have any comments or protests for anywhere else in the county other than the organized, or the unorganized townships that we mentioned before. Oh, including, sorry, everybody. No exclusions.
We did end up submitting a formal protest. I don't know if now would be the perfect
Yep,
time
yeah,
for that.
yeah, state your name for the record. Yep.
Okay, my name is Seth Flynn. I'm with Crowley Fleck Law Firm. We represent Eagle Crest Holdings, and like I said, we submitted a letter for this meeting prior to regarding our appeal and protest of the 2024 assessment. Our 2024 assessment And compared to our 2023 assessment, it increased 52.5%. 2023 was $9.6 million. Our 2024 is $14.6 million. And we have, I guess, three main issues we have with that valuation. First off, the property's been listed for sale since January 2021, and it's been with two different brokers. Of the offers that have been fielded by the brokers, many have been below $10 million, nowhere near that $14.6 million valuation. Given the assessments are based on market value, that should be indicative that our assessment is too high. Second off, we do have significant repair issues with the property. Firstly, there's been settling issues, and plans for that repair are noted in the letter that we submitted for this meeting. Secondly, there's hail damage to both the siding and roof, and our most recent estimates for the amount of those is anywhere between $4.7 million and $5.5 million.
Can I have you hold just for a second?
Yes.
Where is this at?
So the,
Yeah.
so it is under the addendum page that I handed you? Because it came in after we had printed our books. And there is, yep. And we have a copy of their page.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, no.
We just wanted to make sure we were all seeing the same information, so.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for that. Like I said, secondly, we have significant repair issues. There's settling, like I mentioned, and then there's hail damage to both the siding and roof. And like I said, that's anywhere between $4.7 and $5.5 million, because those would be accounted for in any market value sale. That obviously hasn't been accounted here in our 2024 assessment, and that should be at least accounted for. Thirdly, the income/expenses as part of the income approach for valuation. Those are actually incorrect to what our true numbers are. The report for that property's NOI, the net operating income, it shows that we have a net operating income of $1.4 million and some change, $1.428 million. Based on our numbers, and this is also enclosed in the letter that we supplied to you, we're actually at $1.092 million. So the assessment both overstated our property's income and understated our property's expenses. So those are the high points of that 3-page letter, but in summation, we just request that the valuation be returned to that 2023 number instead of our 2024 number. So I'd be happy to field any questions if there are any.
The obvious question that jumped right into my mind is there no insurance on this property? Why hasn't it been repaired if it's hail damage?
I actually don't know that question right off the top of my head. I can end up giving you a supplemental report or get that information to the commission.
Okay. Darcy, do you want to respond?
So when we do the income method, it is like the sales method. We combine all of like properties and look at what the market is setting for rents for those like properties. We do the same thing for expenses. So when we don't do individual property, so our numbers will not end up being exactly what an individual property appraisal will be, because we have to take in the whole market and combine them that way. So we can't do individual.
I'm assuming the income and expenses is also provided by similar, so if there's 30 properties and only 5 respond, that's the information you get,
Correct.
correct?
Yep, correct.
So do you have those numbers, how many properties you have and how many responded?
I'll let Christy.
Okay.
Hello, Commission. My name is Christy Gutierrez. I am the commercial assessor for the city of Williston, as well as a couple of townships. I do all of the apartments in the county at this point, except for Tioga. So what we would do is we collect all of that data. We send out the request around December, and I start analyzing that data about February 15th. This year, we had a historic high level of response. We had over 40, I want to say it's 46% respond in our apartments. So historically, we've been at about 30%. I would say 46% made me thrilled. We're quite confident in our data on this, although we do recognize that in some scenarios, for whatever reason, an apartment is going to list their units under market value. That's not what we are trying to assess here. We're trying to assess what the market would allow, not what the management chooses. And in this scenario, what we took into consideration are amenities, level of construction. I did go out, they did protest at the city of Williston, so Shelby and I went out to take a look at it. I believe in that packet you saw, there are some pictures of some of the damage we saw. Taking $5 million off the valuation because they haven't done the siding, that's really a management decision. I don't feel the taxpayer should subsidize that. So we were directed at the city of Williston to meet with the ownership and see if we could see any reason that there was actually, if these issues were causing a profitability issue, we were not allowed to meet with anybody when we went out. There was nobody there. They're almost full. I don't see a profitability issue in this, so although I can recognize there is some siding missing, it does not appear to be a detriment to the renting of the property, which is what we are trying to determine here on the income method.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, any other comments?
No, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, who would like to go next? Okay,
Hi, my name is Dennis Sewell, and I represent Skyview Estates. We purchased 22 low-income manufactured homes outside or just in the city of Tioga in 2024. And we just received a real estate assessment increase of on the average of 280%. And most of these units were purchased for about $35,000 apiece. We know of 6 units in the same development that were purchased for around the same value in 2023. And the average value is in the low to mid 90s for that. These are low-income housing units that are purchased for oil field workers. The increase in taxes of this would represent more than a month's worth of rent for each of the properties. And we feel like it is not really indicative of the market. I did receive from Leah an average of a lot of other properties. These properties are single-wide homes, and they are a little under 1,000 square feet apiece. A lot of the other properties were in the 2,000 to 2,500 range. So I'm not sure that it's really indicative of what the value of these homes might be versus what was comparable. And so we feel like it's an unjust increase.
okay.
Leah is passing out the information that she sent to them.
The significant increase that we see on several of these buildings, it's not specifically from new build. It is specifically from moving that from the permit system to the real estate system. And there's always a huge increase when that happens because the real estate system is definitely assessed very differently from the permit system. And so you're then taking something that is assessed as a personal property and you're moving it to the real estate. So that's why we're seeing this 280% jump that he is speaking of. The spreadsheet I've given you today shows that all of these assessments are in line with every other mobile home assessment I have in the city of Tioga. And I feel that they are all in a line with everything else in the city. If you have any questions, let me know.
What was the previous assessment?
So that's a hard question to answer because they were two separate assessments. There was an assessment on the permit system, which is just for the mobile home, and I'm not quite sure what that assessment is because I don't handle that. And then I have an assessment on the land, which was about probably around 25 to 30,000. Shauna, if you could pull up one, if you pull up number 03000 8803
Back up.
88.
One set.
No. No, one more. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 88, 03, 020. No, Sean, I need 88, 03. Oh, I can definitely pick one from the sheet. That's a number I know off the top of my head. So actually, Darce, we're gonna go 8802040. Oh, did we pull that one up? All of these are specific mobile homes in a park that is just west of Tioga. If you close this out, Shauna, and go to the previous year's assessments, the prior year. So you're looking at, this one specifically, we're looking at in '24, a total of about 93,000. But if we go back to '22, we're looking at an assessment of about 22 to 25,000. That's most likely what my land plus a hookup was before it was moved to the permit system or to the real estate system.
The market value of the land that we purchased was about 5,000 to 6,000. I might also add that there are seven of the 22 homes were considered barred units, which is low-income FEMA housing units, and so they're not as valuable as some of the other ones.
So when you say from permit to real estate,
So.
because their mobile homes are titled,
Correct. When a mobile home is titled in someone else's name, it cannot be assessed with the land it sits on unless the land and the mobile home are both owned by the same person. So when we talk about a mobile home on permit, we talk about a mobile home that is owned by someone else who does not own that land. Shelby just showed me that those mobile homes were running about $22,000 before on the permit system. That's a significant difference from what you'll see on the real estate. Because the real estate takes into account that hookup, the water, the sewer, all of the setup of that land itself. And so that's why we see that big difference when we jump from a permit system type total to a real estate type total.
Okay, so this is gonna be a dumb question.
Nope, no dumb questions.
Why would somebody buy the land to put a mobile home on it if my taxes are gonna go that high? Am I asking that right?
Well, it seems to be the pattern.
I don't think many people understand that, that happens when you buy a mobile home and the land separately. Most of the time, what happens in these instances is that a big corporation owns the land and another big corporation owns the mobile home. So the mobile homeowner is now renting the land for a significant lower, and then they're renting out the mobile home for a significantly higher, and each person along the line is making some type of income off of the property.
But there's less tax paid if it's that way.
Correct.
I guess I don't understand why there's a difference, isn't the,
They're two different markets, so they're two different sales ratios. When we look at the sales of mobile homes on permit, they are significantly lower than the sales that come with real estate. Yeah, so there's two totally different ratios. None of the mobile homes that sell on permit count towards the mobile homes that sell on real estate and vice versa.
And these are statute rules?
They are,
Okay. That you have to,
that policy, yeah,
yeah.
they're policies.
If I could add that, don't know that the increase in utilities, water, sewer, electricity, would be 3 times the amount of the house itself. And that's what it seems like it's being assessed at the moment.
the question, is there and you're saying that these are all low income or they are? Okay, and are they designated that by the state and or other entity?
We're getting 1,000 to 1,100 a month for the rent.
Okay. Is there a tax abatement process for low-income housing?
There is for apartments, there isn't for mobile homes.
Okay.
I can tell you that $1,000 in Tioga is not low income. My low income apartments in Tioga are actually running closer to $600 a month. 1,000 is actually very along the board of what I'm actually seeing out on the websites for some of those apartments and some of those houses out there in Tioga.
Okay,
And these are 3-bedroom, 2-bath generally.
okay.
Didn't you say earlier that these are oil field housing units?
Well, it's for oil field workers generally. It's mostly Hispanic oil field workers that are tenants.
Okay, so they're low-income workers, or is it they were low-income houses and that you purchased them and are renting them to oil field workers?
I don't know what they were before, but
They were, this was a trailer court that, way back when it got set up, it had, would it be like Wade Bale and them, Wade Works and them, they're the ones that started this, but then they got out of it, and I guess, I don't know. I guess I was under the impression that the city had bought that, but,
no, we bought it.
okay, and this is another, silly question, but somebody said something about a 200% increase? And then on the sheet here, and I'm not making light of it, I mean, 106% is a pretty big increase too, but I mean, it's not 200. Am I not looking at the right spot here?
So you're not actually seeing the notice that was sent out directly to this property owner. So when it comes off of the permit system, as I was speaking of before, you're taking a piece of raw land and all of a sudden you're putting a house on it, just like we have on any other house that's built or anything like that. You're going to see that large jump first off. In truth, it should have went from about 45 to 50,000 to what it is currently, which is the 98,000 or the 160,000 or whatever I currently have them assessed for.
Because they are two different parcels. When they're on the permit system, there's a parcel for the land and a parcel for the mobile home. But yes, so the notice that they received was the increase of the putting the mobile home onto the land, and that there is no longer that parcel for that. So that's why it looks a little different, but the sheet Leah gave you has the combined mobile home on permit price.
The letter that I have, which is the notice of increase in real estate assessment, I understand what they're saying here, but prior year assessment was $24,750 for one of the units, and the current year assessment is $94,360, which is a 281% increase.
So if I'm hearing this right, the reason that he's getting that increase is he would not have seen the value of the trailer because they were permitted before. Now because those homes are on his land. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
So strategically, when you're making a purchase like this, this is one of the complexities of valuation that should be recognized at the time of purchase. But wow, I hope I'm not the only one scratching my head here a little bit on how this all works. But it is complex and not easy.
It's complex, it's not easy, and while we don't like it as landlords, we're probably going to have to pass that along to a degree to the tenants, and we would really like to keep it as low as possible. So if there's anything that can be done to help us with that, it would not be passed along.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the job of this board in this setting is to make it equitable and fair for everyone.
So if we're going to do that, I don't know that it has to be as a maximum increase. If it could be something along a lower level, we would certainly appreciate that.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. Okay, who would like to go next?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, I'm Paul Wyrock. Got a parcel, if you want the parcel number, is that the one you go by, 46-155-01-00-17-037. So I'm here to request a reclassification from commercial back to agricultural for that property, and kind of get clarity once again on that this is a farm building and it qualifies for the farm building exemption. So I wasn't sure where or how to bring this to the board for a decision. I was before the board at one other time trying to get some clarification on this before we built the building and make sure we were doing everything and dotting the i's and crossing the t's, and then we got kind of a surprise that we got assessed as a commercial building. So that's why I'm here, and they mentioned that this is the right place to get that reclassification done. So I hope that is the case. And I want to point out that throughout this whole discussion, the tax equalization department, they've been nothing but professional and respectful in these discussions. So there's no adversarial conversations. Everything's been just facts, and it's been real good that way. The building in question is located on a farm property. It's zoned as agricultural and operated as part of the farm plant. There's tilled soil all the way around the building, and planning to be producing a crop on that soil. Prior to starting the building, I brought it before the commission, make sure that everything was followed, and it looked like we were doing pretty well as far as making sure that we followed all the guidelines that I presented before to make sure that it was, stayed in the agricultural zoning, and we conformed with everything that had pointed towards agriculture. And on this ag land, we're not allowed to run a commercial business. It's not zoned for it. We'd have to get a variance or a conditional use permit in order to get it switched over to a commercial venture. In the future, if we decide to, if this thing turns out and it's ready to expand and we want to move it to the next level, we'd be back in front of you asking for this variance to create a commercial venture. But at this point, we're just wanting to keep it as a farm venture. It's, we're planting our own barley, we're processing our own barley there. And within the plant, there's 3 distinct areas, rooms that we have within the building. So there's a grain cleaning section as we bring in our crops from the farm, and we use that section to clean the grain. And then it gets pushed through to the malting section. And in the malting section, basically what happens there is we put water with the grain and we allow it to sprout, and then we dry it at just the right time. So, that's basically ordinary handling of anything you do on a farm. There's another section that's the packaging and storage section, which allows the ability to load out the bulk truckloads, and we can put it in super sacks or pallets with bags on them to get trucked out. So similar to what any other farmer would want to do. And, basically we're cleaning grain, drying wet grain, and shipping the grain, just like any other farmer would do. We can't buy grain from other farmers because we're just processing our own grain. So we maintain it's not a commercial venture because of that reason. In the process, we're controlling as we get the grain wet and it sprouts. We're controlling when that sprouting stops. And other farmers do the same thing. They control when they're done with their growing product. They might spray it out in the field to stop it from growing and harvest it. So we're doing very similar things to what any other farmer would do. And as you can see in one of the highlighted areas on that sheet, it says that part of the purpose of this farm building exemption is to encourage the construction of building and improvements on farms. That's part of the the intent of the law that was created for this exemption. And presently, they've got us listed at 2.4 million on the tax roll as a commercial building. I'm asking that you take that back off as a commercial building, put it on as a farm building, ag building, which would be exempt. You know, we couldn't sell the land as commercial land. We couldn't sell the building as a commercial building, because we're restricted to ag. I did talk with the Tax Equalization Department, and they had cited that other malting facilities in the state are classified as commercial buildings, which that may be, but I'm assuming that they chose to put their buildings on commercial land. Most of them are in the towns or on the edge of a town or somewhere where it's commercial, and that's what they decided to do. They can buy grain from other farmers. They can sell their business as a commercial business. And the state law specifically states that that this exemption is not available for an agricultural structure located on commercial land, which ours is not. So with all this in mind, I open for questions and requesting that reclassification today.
Paul, just a comment, I think, more than anything. The intention was to build the facility to malt barley that you grew on your and your partner's properties, to see how it went and then go from there. And that's, I think, what you've maintained all along.
Yes.
And you're open to commercializing when the opportunity presents itself.
Yes.
Okay. Darcy, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, so we did a lot of research on this property, and we did call all throughout the state and found a bunch of different malting facilities, and they are on everything. They are on personal ag land. They are run by families. They are not big. There's one big corporation that we found. When we read the Century Code, it says that for purposes of this paragraph, business other than farming includes processing to produce a value-added physical or chemical change in an agricultural commodity beyond the ordinary handling of that commodity by a farmer prior to sale. So since he is forcing that sprouting beyond what is normally planted in the ground, that's one reason. We found some attorney opinions on other things. One of them was on a grain cleaning and seed plant, which I found to be very similar, that the grain is grown by the farmer, stored on that farm where it is cleaned, treated, and sold either in bulk or bagged as seed. It is our opinion that in these circumstances, the assessing officials are obliged to treat them as taxable structures. Also, in the letter from the North Dakota Department of Commerce regarding the primary sector certification for the ND Malting and Hops, Inc., which is the business that runs this building, that they must keep all production agricultural business completely separated from the primary sector certified malting operation. No equipment or facilities that may take advantage of any programs aimed at agriculture production can be utilized in the primary sector certifying malting operation. So that's why we felt it is more than just an ag building.
Were you, when you discussed this with other businesses, did you find out if they were processing their own grain or if they were processing other people's?
It was a mix.
Okay.
It was a mix. There were some that were doing their own. They were doing their own and other people's, and then there were some that were just doing other people's.
Okay. Do you want to respond to that, Paul?
I believe the family-owned ones are on commercial ground that I know of. They were built on commercial ground.
I guess the issue that I see here is that we have a building deemed by the county as ag. The building department did not inspect it because it's an ag building. So if we tax it as a commercial building, they can't sell it as a commercial building.
We don't follow zoning or building codes, we go by use. So if they're using it in a commercial manner, we have to assess it as commercial.
So as far as I know, the malting facilities in the state that have a facility like ours, there's only a couple in the state. So I don't know for sure which ones we looked at. Is there? do have
We
some
found
discussion on that?
6 of them, 5 of them.
I mean,
And they are buying barley from other people.
Of 2-track malting, raw malting company, Grain Valley Milling, and then 1 in Wheatland and 1 in Castleton.
you said 2-track RAR. I mean, those are both big.
And they buy
2 tracks malting facility is actually smaller than this one.
the facility is, but they purchase from other.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the distinction is that, I mean, they are commercially purchasing grain from other growers.
And they're on commercial property. I mean, they built on
Right.
commercial property on the edge of town.
Yeah, I think, Bo, you make a good point, and I appreciate your perspective, Darcy, that you're not bound by planning and zoning, but this board is. And because we deemed it an ag building, and if you're gonna tell us that we have to value it as a commercial building, then what we may have to say is that, no, we're not going to. It's an ag processing facility, and we've already deemed it this way from a planning and zoning perspective, so everybody's being respected. And I mean, no disrespect with that regard, but we pigeonholed this thing as a board from a property valuation perspective as an ag property.
Under Century Code, any egg production that is beyond normal use is considered taxable. So that's where I have to go off.
Right. And
I mean,
We're maintaining that we're not doing things that are not normal. We're drying grain, we're sprouting grain, and we're packaging it and storing it. So we don't,
so are you storing it forever, or are you selling it, or are you?
it'll be sold just like any farmer sells their grain. And the physical difference in it, you can't really see the difference between barley and malt. They look the same. If I give you a bag of barley and a bag of malt,
Well, and then that goes back to my AG opinion, where the grain that is clean, treated, and sold on a farmer's land is determined taxable.
let's get you to state your name too for the record. Sorry, David.
David Amundsen.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to comment as well?
So one of the things that we talk about is they feel that we're doing something normally we wouldn't do as farmers. All of us planted crops this spring. All of us germinated those crops hoping they would grow. You actually did the same thing we're doing the plant, except we terminated early.
David, just a second. What's going on, Lindsay? Oh, yeah, tilt it up a little bit. You're so tall, David.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Apologies.
yeah.
So essentially what we see is that I'm still germinating crops just like we would on the farm. We decided to plant, let's say, 3 bushels an acre on the farm to grow barley. I get 80 back. I would argue that that's a commercial venture then as well. We add value to that 3 bushels. We decided to take those 3 bushels instead of seeding them, germinate them, and then sell them as a malt, which is germination process and drying, and sell them. It is Paul and I, we are not buying it from anybody else. We are not making money till that malt sells, just like we would market anything else. And there's nothing that in my farming world has ever stopped me from saying, Corey, I'd like to do business with you. Let's market some stuff together. that's never been viewed commercial. That's how we market the stuff as farmers.
The legislative council, is this not century code? It's stating century code? Section 57-02-08, 15A? Is that the section you're reading from?
Yes, and so it's further on under subsection 3 in that same number 15. Yeah, so it's section or paragraph 3 under 15A.
I highlighted that section. You can see it there. In interpreting that, we maintain that we are doing the ordinary handling of that commodity like any other farmer prior to sale.
So the opinion that you have is that a North Dakota Attorney General opinion?
Yep.
That says if they, in that same facility, if they were cleaning their own grain and putting it into a bag and selling it as certified seed, that's a commercial business.
Yep, that's what this one.
Well, I'd be thinking, if you run long on your seed, clean seed, and you sell it to your neighbor, now you've just became a commercial business.
Exactly.
It's, I think in this opinion, it's the treated section. So you're going one step farther than just clean grain. You treated it, which is, in my mind, very similar to sprouting. You have made, your sprouted grain is going to sell for more than just clean grain. So you have added value to that commodity.
I think that's a stretch.
Well-
In my opinion, that's a stretch because, I agree 100% with we all put it and we all sprout it. And that's, I think we're maybe stretching a little bit on this. Besides the fact that we didn't make it be a commercial building to start with, you can't sell it as a commercial building, so it's not worth that, in my opinion. So I don't know where we go from here, but something's got to be fixed.
Yeah, and I again, all due respect, Darcy, this is your opinion, and it's in this world, it has to be, it's subjective. We're applying principles that you believe that falls into this category and other people think it doesn't. But where I draw a very clear distinction, and this is not your responsibility. This was the board's responsibility for initially declaring this an ag building. And if we turn around and value it as a commercial building, we've just counteracted what we set out to do in that first phase. Whatever decision gets made by the board, that doesn't reflect negatively upon your assertion. We made this path that we're on, and I think that may be what we
Okay.
may be stuck.
And yeah, so now anything that any other plant that comes through, they're going to look at him and say, well, he's an exempt, so I should be exempt too.
Well,
A honey processing plant up in Wild Rose.
and if they're two farmers that have their own bees and they're processing their own honey, I think it would stand to be the same.
That is also in Century Code that says the processing of honey is not an agricultural. The collection of honey is agricultural. The processing of honey
As
is
soon as
not.
it goes into a bottle.
As soon as it goes into the heat up.
That's specifically spelled out for honey.
Yeah.
For that example.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't spell out every situation. So we look at what is spelled out and apply it to where.
Yeah. Okay, any other
I think,
questions?
just as a random comment, the specific disadvantage that I think that this situation has in Williams County is that commercial buildings are outrageously priced. So this, to me, would be, it would end up being a lesson to every farmer that wants to do something like this, that holy shit, we can't do this because we're gonna go from $1 million valuation to 4, and our taxes are gonna be outrageous. So it's going to, which leads to a process, I assume, at the state of North Dakota, that they would have to apply for value-added property tax exemption, correct? So, I mean, that's where, I mean, if the commission deemed it as ag, in my opinion, it's gotta stay ag unless they choose to change it. And I guess that's the precedence that we set for other processing facilities in Williams County.
Right, and
Can we-
I would agree with that, and I mean, I hope it just goes great guns. And next year, you're wanting to go commercial because you have the ability to, but I think right now, if we were to do this, that would just about, I mean, you're tying a rock around their neck that this won't fly. I mean, I think it's such in the infant stage that this would be very detrimental, I think.
Are we ever gonna get a guarantee that he will come to our office? Because once you grant an egg, and is there any guarantee that he will come and tell us that he's commercial, or tell you guys? So then 4 or 5 years after he becomes commercial, we find out about it, and you're like, shit. Sorry. Excuse my language.
That's pretty.
Both start,
I already broke the mold, so.
You could say that about speeding as well. I mean, we're not gonna go tell the highway patrolman we're speeding, he's gonna catch us. But you're gonna get caught if you do something wrong.
right.
If you continue to do something wrong, there's things in place that you'll get caught, and that's, we don't intend to do things wrong.
Well,
We've been above board on all this up to this point, and we don't intend to change that. If we want
I
to be
think
commercial, we're
the
gonna.
good news, and that's a very good point. The good news in the ag community specifically, if they say they went out and started buying barley or offered to buy barley from 5 different guys, it wouldn't take but a week. And every farmer that grew barley would want to sell them barley.
Yeah, but nobody talks to us.
Well,
That's,
No, nobody, yeah, you guys are not everybody's favorite, I get it.
well,
Okay.
So, just a side note on this is, if we went commercial, we understand, we put that building on farmland, said we'd like to try this. If we ever got to the point of expanding, it may not be on that site because it was zoned ag. We also built it as a building that could be used as a farm structure, long-term, clean out all the stuff and move it, because we can move it to somewhere that would be truly commercial. And I could say, Bo, I'd like to buy barley from you. Corey, I'd like to buy barley from you. I understand at that point, this is a full commercial venture. At this point, we don't get paid for our barley until it's turned into malt, and we have cash for how we'd market it to an elevator. As we've said, we came to you guys in the first place and said, this is what we'd like to do. We haven't done anything, I don't think, that was out of line of what we agreed to do. We're just asking that that stays.
Right. And that's, the above board comment, I think, has been recognized. And you guys have been upstanding with regards to being communicative and making sure we all know what's going on. And from my perspective, at least, I can only speak for myself, is we want to encourage the value add component to ag is incredibly valuable to the economy of our county and the state as a whole. And we have a lot to offer from that regard. And thank you for taking the risk that you've done to do what you're doing, and hopefully more will do it as well.
so would this be might be off topic, but a procedural thing for the county commission to make it formal for value added, if a value added ag for property tax exemption? In order to, would that make you feel more comfortable? It's not this meeting, but a future meeting?
I just feel very uncomfortable because it lines it out in century code. And so then you guys would be the ones to say, well, we're not following century code.
It does the way you read it. It does not the way these guys read it. because it's, I mean, it's highlighted from them, the exact way you're citing.
Yeah.
They're saying that's not what it says. So it's basically how you're reading it. So
Yeah,
I'm
I mean-
trying to help you, because it's great. You guys are doing a great job, but I just, this one,
Is
I
this
really,
the
I
only
mean-
time one of us has to say, boy, I sure wish Karen was.
I know.
I didn't want to say that.
So just on record, one of the things I do wish to point out about that century code says that the product basically value-added physical or chemical change in an agricultural commodity beyond the ordinary handling of the commodity. Every one of us as farmers germinates that seed. That is not out of the norm. We have not done something magical with it. We germinated. I germinated on my farm. I decided to stop germination early and sell it as a germinated seed. Most of us carry it through and we produce a crop out of it. We did not chemically do anything. We didn't treat it with something else. It's a natural process that we do on the farms.
And that's the subjective part of this, right? That's what you're saying is chemically altering, they're saying is germination, and that's, while there could be a chemical change, and that's what makes the product
Physical change.
viable from a malting perspective, it's still a natural process, which they do at Durham or spring wheat or whatever they might do. You germinate it in the ground, grow a crop, and then you've added value. You took one seed, turned it into many.
Right,
So-
it's just the majority of farmers are not sprouting their seeds before, that's where I feel taking that extra time to sprout the seeds is outside of the norm.
So that's kind of my question I wanted to ask. And this is purely just an informational question because I really don't know that much about this process. How many farmers that you know of do this process outside of the norm? Like this specific process where you're germinating it in a sealed container, so
Controlled environment.
controlled environment. Thank you. I appreciate that word. How many farmers do any of you know that actually do this on their farm plant currently?
2.
I probably know a half a dozen, but they're super small. A couple guys do it on their own for their own beer that they grow or they brew. But it is, I mean, I get what you're asking too. The other thing is this process also happens naturally. If I put seeds out on the counter outside and it rained on them, they would sprout. Yes. The difference is in their controlled environment at the time that they do it, it becomes barley that's worth more than, because the seeds I have here that are sprouted are worthless because they grow a sprout that long or this long or whatever. So, I mean,
So a value added.
Exactly.
correct.
I really wanted to clarify because I didn't understand the process, so I really just wanted to know that. I appreciate that information. Thank you.
But then at the same time, I mean, so if that is value added, but like he said, if you put 3 bushels in the ground and you get 80 back, that's quite a value add also. So, I mean, I'm not, I'm not throwing rocks here, nothing. It's just that
But the cost of the per bushel, relatively speaking, we're taking out the variability of the market. Would sell, the barley that you put in the ground would be the same price. I mean, you hope it'd be more, but it would be the same price. You're not doing anything different to it other than getting more.
So
Like a bag of sprouted barley is more than a bag of unsprouted barley.
Can we take one more step on that though? Now we go back to the building itself, and how is that worth that much more money? It's an ag building. No matter what you're doing, it's their stuff in an ag building. I don't know how, because we said it was ag, so I don't know how we can all of a sudden tax somebody at a commercial rate if it's an ag building.
That's what I fall back to. I think we set the
Thank you for your
path.
consideration of it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Hi, Christy again. Just wanted to come up here real quick and see, so this is actually my account as well. And so I just wanted to clarify on this, on our stance, we really feel like we are defending the interests of the residents of Williams County. And so nothing against Paul and David. I think anytime anybody brings new industry into Williams County, it's a boon for anybody who lives here. So we're just trying to do the absolute best we can to ensure we're making this equal across the board. We came across a lot of paperwork that really told us that in this scenario we were not. We're just trying to defend our. So I know you're saying you're not throwing rocks at us. I don't think we take it that way.
Right.
We are absolutely 100% trying to protect the best interests of the residents of this county.
Absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense, and I have a hunch, no matter how this turns out, the only people that are going to win in this is going to be the attorneys. Sorry, no offense intended, maybe, who tested in a court of law.
The
And-
other thing is this building is bigger than any other farm building that I have ever come across.
Have you been to Orville Erickson's farm? No. That was a joke.
Shawnee, you want to pull up
Dimensions,
the
guys?
sketch?
What are the dimensions of the building?
90 by 250
Yeah.
steel girders. It's full concrete inside.
It's
How tall is it?
20
It's
foot?
24 foot, 24, 26.
Is a combine considered value add? How much does that cost when you put it inside that building? I don't know. It's a tough, there's a lot of tough questions here. And- Okay, sorry. Who would like to go next? Mr. Hickle, if you'd state your name for the record.
Hal Hickle. It's going to be 15697, Section 5, Southwest. Yes.
Okay, 05050. 23, up 3. I need my pointer. There. There.
Wrong. Southwest.
Is that your property or?
It's Donald Estate. You'll see it on there.
West half of the south one? She's in the wrong. No. Is it just Eggland? Or?
Yes.
It's just Eggland. No, I found it. It's fine. No.
Someone's calling us.
I think it's his phone.
Is that the right piece? Is that the right one, Hal?
Yeah, that's the right one. I was here before about this quarter of land, and the road was taken out to it by Tom Wheeler. And I was told to go back to the township and talk to them. I went back to the township. They don't really care that Tom Wheeler took the road out since he's on the board anyway. I have tried to run electricity to a bend for air there since. Going for where you can see where the place is next to County 17 there, with all the trees around it in the southeast quarter. Over to my quarter for air and a bend, and I can't even get an easement to go across there unless I put underground line in at $30,000. Since I brought this before because of the road, I'm back here now, what do I do? It was the taxpayer-paid road. Taxpayers paid to put the road in. An individual just decides to take it out.
Does this concern the value?
Just curious, where is the road right, just right underneath where it said like that number 5, where that tree row is, or?
That's County 17 where the arrow was. The road is that green line going over to the blue. Go down. Right there. Right there. The road there used to be a homestead right there. And the road went all the way out to the pavement. That bend sitting in the corner where the homestead used to be.
So this has nothing to do with the valuation?
Well, I imagine it does if there was a road going, if the road was still in there, that'd help the valuation of the land. No?
I don't know if we, because it's a meeting regarding property values, I don't know that we can address this at this meeting.
Well, it says, what does it say, equal?
Yep, equalization and, yeah.
No. Well, I'm here complaining about it again. I guess nothing will get done. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. If you can state your name for the record, please.
Chasen Greenwood.
Okay.
Chasen, kind of like Jason, but with a ch. Chason.
Right, there's something in our packet on it.
So, are you lots 1 through 5 of Block 1 in Appam? Is that?
I got the parcel number here is 44-159 00-05-01-012.
Okay, okay. Yep. So, if I can preface this, if you don't mind. We do have a little blurb about Blue Ridge. They held their local board meeting, but then did not find the rolls equalized, barring this appeal. He had appealed at the local, they said come to county, and voted not to equalize their township until, and have you guys hear this. So we will. No, their books are all correct.
Go ahead and begin whenever you're ready.
Well, just moved out back in, I want to say early September, and, oh, sorry.
We're streaming, so.
Okay. Moved here back in early September, and I work a lot, and we're a single family, or a single income home. And here not too long ago, I got a thing here saying nearly a 15% increase in the valuation of the property. And it's not worth an increase of 15%. It's not even worth what we paid for it. Truthfully, I mean, the place is, I would say it's probably, would be more accurate to put it back at the original assessment from 23 rather than saying that it deserves a $17,000 increase in valuation. It needs a lot of repairs. One of the bathrooms is, well, the roof is water damaged. There's been a lot of siding damage to it. Some of it I will try to repair as soon as the wind stops blowing as hard as it has been. And there's some structures on the property that need to be demolished. There's also trash. If you look behind that, where that propane tank is right now, I've removed trash there. I've probably removed about 3 or 4 trailer loads of trash from the property. And the section out there next to the road, I also plan on turning into a little farm area and probably right next to the garage that's in there as well. And right now, the garage nearest the road is actually a chicken coop.
Okay.
And none of those extra buildings have any amenities or facilities in them of any kind. There's no electricity, there's no water in them. They're just storage buildings. But like I said, the one near the road, it's leaning, so I've been using it as a chicken coop.
So, so is this something that, have you actually went out there then? Or, I mean, I didn't know if it was something where like a future inspection could change things or, no? Eh.
Ashley Cragen is the assessor for Blue Ridge.
Okay, good morning. Okay, so my name is Ashley. I am the assessor for this particular area. I would like the opportunity to go out and take a look in person at this if we're able to set up an inspection for the property. I know that this property, it's not, oh. I do know that, you discussed this at the local meeting with the Blue Ridge Board, and they weren't able to make a decision on it. And when they reached out to me as well, we did discuss the sales price that we had from back in August of 2023 was $268, and we are valued much lower than that purchase price. And so if there are any discrepancies in the information that we have on record, I would like to make those corrections if needed. But there is a large difference in what was paid for the property and the low valuation that we have on that as well. So 134.2.
That's according to this new valuation. The basement itself isn't even usable as living space. So technically, everything above ground is what you get. And the basement, I don't know, is maybe 600 square feet, but it's not usable as living space, recreational space. It's basically just storage.
This is where it'd be advantageous to have them come on site if you're willing to let them in, and this would make a lot of sense. That way they can determine.
And like I said, I mean, the other buildings that are there, I've already torn down one of the buildings that was there from one of the previous owners. I still have some more to get done. The property needs a lot of upkeep, maintenance. That fence is not correct, as you can see by the approximate lines of the property, and the fencing itself has been torn down when they did, I'm guessing it was fiber optic lines out near the road, and apparently the previous owners had their fence over that line, so that whole section's been wiped out. I have to go out there and fix all that too, and fencing's not cheap. Haven't had to do it since I was a kid, and not really looking forward to it, but,
Well,
you know.
yeah, I think the easiest solution is to have them in and look at the property. That's the best way to proceed if you're willing to do it.
Yeah, yeah. There's also some other things structurally to the house itself, which makes no sense. It's like no overhangs to prevent water from like dripping into the doors of the house. So, and like I said, one of the bathrooms is the ceiling. Under inspection, they're like, look, there's moisture building up in the, so I gotta tear the whole roof out of there. And I don't know if you guys have ever done any demo work, but if you got mold up in there, you usually have to dig into your walls and everywhere else to get at that stuff and then kill it and make sure that you don't have further problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the house, one section of it was rebuilt like in 2017. The other section, well, main section burned down 2017. It burned to the ground. And then they added an addition there. And the addition has some issues with it as well. Improper insulation. There's stuff going on in there. It gets freezing cold in the wintertime and stuff like that. So there's a lot of work that I got to do.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. Well, please make arrangements with the staff to get them in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. What do I do to, sorry,
Okay.
should I do this now or?
Is there anybody else? Do we have anybody on the phone? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Come on up, sir. And again, just state your name for the record, please.
Edgar Garcia.
Okay.
We're calling, we came here because we bought some lots and some trailers in Tioga at the Skyview. And I mean, I paid for one of my trailers 15, the other one I paid 17, and then the other one I paid 20. But you guys have them valued at 90,000 right now, so.
Okay. Yeah, and we did talk about the same trailers as before.
It's in the same, it's in the
Same.
same development.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
But
So if,
separately,
Yep, mine was purchased separately. I bought my trailer and then the lots separately, so.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
But you, right now, you own the trailer and the land that it's on,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So I paid 15 for one trailer and then the lot 10,000 last year. And then this year I just bought more lots for 5,000, so.
so total, you paid 25,000?
Yep, yep,
And that same lot is valued at 93,000
yep.
with the trailer on it? Is that?
and I might add that, going back to our previous conversation, I understand the change in the way it's assessed or looked at, but the reality is that there are 29 units in that area that have been purchased in the last year, and they're valued at $25,000 to $35,000, yet the assessment is 93.
So does this, because mobile homes are, I mean, I understand they're titled, but they're also assessed countywide as the same, correct? I mean, is that taken into
Yep.
account the value?
So
Because-
the values of mobile homes on permits are set countywide throughout the county. The mobile homes in Tioga are only looked at other mobile homes in Tioga when they're on real estate.
So the assessed value of their home is because it's being compared to other lots and mobile homes in Tioga.
Correct.
So so I just bought another one in town. So I just bought another one in Tioga in town, and I got the trailer and the lot for 30,000 in town. So,
So that will be reflected in this next year's. Yeah. So that's a 25 assessment sale.
Yeah, so it's weird because traditional residential homes are previous year and trailer homes, or manufactured homes are next year, current year. Okay.
And did you buy all these properties in 2024 or 2023?
I bought 3 of them in 2023.
And my partner bought another one in 2023 that was for about 35,000. So it seems like everything that has been purchased, whether it's in 2023 or 2024, we're in the mid-30s versus the $93,000 assessment.
I mean, in order for, so if you purchase yours for 30,000, then there must be a bunch at 150 or 200,000?
Most their sales can't count because they aren't, we don't have anything for the prior year to assess it to. They're buying a mobile home that we had assessed on permit, which is not usable in the real estate sales. So,
Back to the marketability. If they're, goes back to the marketability. I completely understand the legality part of it, but if marketability is a factor in how you guys are determining the assessment of the tax, then the marketability, we know of at least 4 homes that were purchased in 2023 that were in the $35,000 range. And these are single-wide homes versus the double-wides, which probably are much higher.
And you couldn't use the ones from 23?
no, because they were on permit for 23, and so we didn't have a 24 assessment, or they weren't, yeah.
They don't match the actual assessment.
Do I look that
record.
confused?
Yes,
Because I think I
exactly.
am. I really think I am that confused, so.
So when you have a sale that comes through, and to make it an arm's length transaction, it has to match the assessment record and the record on file. So because that these two were not assessed together, it's a sale that we have to kick out as not usable. That's why these sales can't be used. They also sold several on one deed, and we kick out all multi-parcel sales as well.
So what are you comparing them to get the 90,000?
To the other mobile homes, the mobile homes that had an assessment in 23. They were on permit, or on real estate in 2023. Those are the sales that we have
Homes
to
that
use.
were affixed to the land.
Right. No, just in Tioga.
And are those single-wide or double-wides, or is there?
I believe that those sales are singles. I'm not 100% sure.
How is that compared to the square footage? Because ours are under 1,000.
Sorry, my brain just went soft.
This is, I mean, just as a side note, this is century code stuff, correct? So, I mean, it's like that, my comment was, the state legislators should have to sit through this because they're the ones that have made these rules, and they are definitely different.
Yeah.
So I can see where you're getting at, because I also have a manufactured home and had to go through the similar process. I didn't understand how it all worked, but.
So all manufactured homes in the city of Tioga are compared in the same bucket because there is not enough in the city of Tioga for me to separate out the single and the double. I am taking into consideration, though, on every single assessment, the different square footages for each individual property. So if you were to divide out, if you would look at this spreadsheet and you would divide out what my square footage price is, you're going to see that my square footage price is matching very similarly across the board of those different aged homes. And so you're going to look at a double wide and it's going to be significantly higher than a single wide because of that square footage difference.
And the unfortunate scenario that we're trapped in with your situation, gentlemen, is that the sale that you did doesn't count in the valuation because it changed from permit to,
Unfortunately, yes.
yeah, and so that to me is mind-boggling, but that's the rules that have been set, as Commissioner Anderson said. So it is a frustrating scenario. Those sales that you did don't count because they were permitted, then went to, what's the other term?
They were on the permit system and then they went to real estate.
Real estate, okay. So,
And that is the case in 2023 as well?
For some of them, yes. Not all of them had that 280% increase. You have some of them that were still, all of Mr. Garcia's were on the permit system in 2023, and we moved them in 2024 to the real estate system. Not all of the Skyview ones are under that assumption as well. They only have a select few that moved. They did have several properties that were already assessed together, but none of those, I only think I had one of those sales. And unfortunately, it is my outlier of all my other sales within Tioga.
Gotcha. And so these sales that, especially Mr. Garcia, will never get factored.
If he was to sell now that he owns both the land and the mobile home and they are together assessed, yes, that sale would definitely be pulled into my ratio. Unfortunately, because they were separated before, it will not.
Okay.
And so this won't be reassessed next year to lower?
We reassess every year, and I have to use whatever sales are usable within the next year. So I'm looking at 2024 sales, and I would use any of those sales to dictate what the new assessment will be for 25. Unfortunately, if it's a multi-parcel or if it's a mobile home that was on the permit system and moved to the real estate system, those are sales I do have to kick out. They unfortunately are not usable sales in the state of North Dakotas.
They'll never be usable unless they're sold again.
Correct. They have to sell individually on their own deed, one lot at a time, or it needs to be able to be shown or a list specifically. And that's the problem with a multi-parcel sale, is when you have 8 mobile homes or 8 homes that sell on one deed, I don't know what that total sales price dictates out to, because each lot is different, each home is different, each assessment is different. If you included with a sale the actual listed cost or price for each individual lot and home, that would be a different story, because then I would have a specific sale price for
each
each
one.
individual lot. Then I could use that sale.
So you guys should swap 3 each. Create your own new sales, and then they became.
So I have a question for her.
Yeah.
So on lot 14 and 17, I don't know if you're familiar with the lots there at the trailer park.
Vaguely, yes.
Okay, so lot 14 and 15, I just had it surveyed and got it to one single lot now. And lot 15 and 16 is now a single lot because I am putting a garage in each lot. So is that going to count for 2024 that we evaluate different on that?
That would not be an actual sale. That would just be an increase in value because of the garage. So what will happen is our office will do something. So what our office will do is they do something called a lot combination. So you've gone through the process with the city of Tioga. They'll send me the paperwork. I will combine the lots. Those lots will then, you'll have a different total for your land and your home. And then as soon as the garage is built, that will add value for 2025. Whatever is standing as of February 1st of 2025 will add to that for that year. But you won't actually pay that tax bill until December of 2025. So if you build the garage tomorrow, you will use that garage for all of 24 and most of 25 before paying a bill on it.
Perfect.
My last question, is there any way to have a reassessment to a lower amount in consideration of our situation?
Darcy,
In other words,
what would your,
instead of 93,000, can it be 70,000? Or do you have that latitude, or is it just a one-time thing?
we do not. That would be something that the board would have to decide at this time. They would have to choose to make that decision. There's nothing that we would be able to do in our office to come out and reevaluate or do anything. I guess,
Other than doing a inspection and discovering something physically doesn't match our record. So if we remeasured and we were, instead of a 76 by 16, it's actually a 68 by 14, that will cause it to, we can make that change.
yes.
But just changing it to $70,000, that's not within our office's powers.
But then I see here on this sheet that we got, there's another one, not these gentlemen's, but It's 994 square feet. It's valued at 82,360, but it's 5 years older. You know, and so I mean, I get it. It's a big jump, but it's there's a couple more over here with the square footage is pretty similar. But they're older model homes, so I'm thinking it's got to be close.
So when we get to this point later in this meeting, can the board ask for a recommendation from you, or can we make a determination on our own?
As long as it is equitable to everyone. We're, yes,
Every single property within the city of Tioga would have to be,
every single mobile home.
mobile home, sorry,
Property.
yes. You would have to make your motion, sorry, you would have to make your motion to include every mobile home within the city of Tioga.
Understood, okay, we can't pick them out in particular. That's not
Right,
equalization, right?
Right.
We're happy to be in a crowd. Is there a way to repurchase so that these can be reconsidered in 2025?
No, because it would be,
Same one grant deed?
no, unfortunately, because then it would be company to company, and that is an excusable or an excluded reason.
Well, all right, anything else for us? Okay, thank you very much.
I'm not familiar with this process will we hear what your outcome be at the end of the?
Yeah, at this meeting, we do, yeah.
Everything wraps up today.
Thank you.
We could just, table this and wait for David to come back. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Okay, anybody else in the audience?
Further comment, or is that pass?
I am go ahead, come on up.
Seth Flynn again for Eagle Crest Holdings. I guess as I was sitting here, I was kind of making a mental note of what was talked about, and I think we kind of lost track towards the end, focusing more so on the repair issues of the apartment building. So I just wanted to reorient us and say that the assessor's guidebook for North Dakota talks about market value being if exposed on sale in the open market. We have the unique opportunity here where this building is actually for sale on the open market. And the offers we've received haven't been close to that $14.6 million valuation. Like I said, very many of them have been under 10. So I just wanted to say that in closing, and apologies for not mentioning that originally.
Absolutely, but until you have a transaction, there's no transaction.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I need to repeat two more times, I think. Anyone else in the audience that would like to, do we have somebody on the phone?
We have someone to call. They lodged a formal protest, so when we get to that, we can take care of the audience first.
Okay, audience first, right on. I think that was number 2. Third and final time, anybody that would like to come up to address the board, please do so now, or forever hold your peace. Yeah, at least until next year, yes. Okay, we'll close the public hearing.
All right, now we can move on to the formal protests that our office has received. Yeah, page 3 and the addendum that I handed you. So the first 3 are all represented by Pivotal, and that's the phone-in one that we need. But they have 3 properties, one in Bennett Industrial, one in Valentina, and one in section 24 of.
Do we need to formally open this? Okay.
Hi, Rachel. Pivotal Tax Solutions, this is Jenny. How can I help you?
Hi, Jenny. This is
Hello?
hello. This is Darcy Anderson with the Williams County Assessor's Office. We had a request that we call in when it was your turn to speak at the Board of Equalization meeting.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I can barely hear you. Let me try turning this up. Okay. Hello?
Hello. This is Darcy Anderson with the Williams County Assessor's Office. We had
Oh,
a
now I can hear you.
we were asked to call to talk about the during the equalization meeting.
Okay. Let me see. So you had a hearing scheduled for today?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I could not hear you until just now. Let me see who you'll be talking to today. Taylor. Okay, I'm going to transfer you to our agent, Wayne Tannenbaum.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach.
They were told of the date and time, and they requested the call, so. You can see their packet of information. It includes some sales comps. We did go out and do an inspection of them. On the exteriors, they are all confirmed correct condition and grade. There's no differences between what is there and and what is on the assessment roll. They were very picky in their comps, which we cannot be. A lot of the comps that they included were in a either not in the base year, or they were comparing a 20-acre lot to a 1-acre lot, or they were outside of our assessment area. Same kind of for all three. There were several comps that our office used within the correct time frame, within the correct area, that very well match these properties' current values. And they didn't adjust any of their comps. So they just took the square footage price of the building on the 1 acre and want to apply it to their 20 acre 2 building parcel.
Okay. Do we need to address each one of these individually? Or are we going to wait to the end to do all of them as well?
We will need a motion.
For each one individually?
Yeah, if there is anything, if you want to be, if you want to do something that is not in as recommended, we need to do it at that, because the motion is to adjust as recommended.
Okay. With that in mind, I believe there's a request for a bio break here. If we could do a 5-minute recess and then come back to conclude, that would be fantastic. So 11:56, we'll be back, or earlier. Thanks, Lindsay. Okay, we will reconvene in the Board of Equalization. I think we're in the formal protest section.
Yes, correct. And we had just wrapped up the pivotal tax solutions appeals on those 3 properties.
And only if we want to take individual
If you want
action.
to take do any discussion and take any other, our office recommends no change.
Okay.
So if you
Well,
have
since
anything
we
else.
didn't hear from the other ones, what are they, you want to move on, board?
Yeah, unless you. Yeah, well, we'll get to those.
Yeah. Well, let's move on, unless anybody wants to make any changes to the pivotal. Okay.
Okay, the next 2 are Cass Oil Company. They are the Holiday Circle K gas stations. That's this calculated cost form. There's one for each property. They utilize the Marshall and Swift cost services, which we do not use. They are asking for a value of $200 a square foot inclusive of land for the south, I call it south, gas station and the north gas station, a value of $278 a square foot inclusive of land. In their utilization of Marshall and Swift, they have made some big errors. They call our climate mild, and so don't take into consideration the extra building that has to be done to withstand our climate. They do not include the cost of the tanks, which we do. They have a $4 a square for asphalt price, which is very, very low if anyone's done any paving recently. And they make no difference for the concrete. They also depreciate the concrete at 80%, even though it's only 8 years old. Asphalt and concrete has a life expectancy of 15 to 20 years, not 10. They don't include any of the equipment for the car wash, and they have given an arbitrary 10% discount on the land, on our land value with no support.
Okay. Is there anybody here representing them?
No.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay, we'll move on to the next one.
Sorry. I don't want to switch over. I got all my stuff here. So it's the letter of appeal on green paper. These are the Northgate apartments over on the end of 42nd Street East. They are requesting their purchase price of $21,500,000. And I'll make sure you have one for the minutes. Okay, they included their buyer's settlement statement and a couple articles and some graphs on why they believe that value is too high. Their February 2023 sale does not recognize the market surges in June and November when they had rate increases. We found that their rents are in line with the comparable properties and in fact are lower. The values that we came up with are lower than what they are advertising. Their ratio is actually the outlier compared with other 2023 apartment sales. And it did sell for much more than the prior year's assessment. So.
Okay, any individual action on these? No. Okay. Who's next?
That is all for the formal, because we heard Eagle Crest during the public hearing. So if I could have a finding and a motion or discussion.
And that's page 3? Okay. Okay.
Well,
I move that a finding be made that the protest items listed above, as noted in the minutes, have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization. I move that 2024 true and full values of protest listed above, as noted in the minutes, be adjusted as recommended.
Is there a second?
second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, now we are at the
J, board
number
actions?
5
Oh,
under county. So now we need board actions regarding the public hearing.
okay, and this is where we'll address everybody
Everyone
that came
who
up.
came, yep.
Okay? The moment you've been waiting for, everyone. Yeah, item J1 in the agenda.
This one here will be for the corrections, right? On page 10, the findings in motion.
Yes, fine. Page 10 is the end of the corrections. So we're going out of the book for a minute to do the results, the actions on all the public hearing. I think yours might be, your agenda might be numbered different, but it's number 5 on mine, board actions regarding public hearing under County Board of Equalization.
I'm totally confused.
Yeah, it's J, we're on J1.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one we're gonna do is,
You can do Skyview Estates was the first. Yes. It's the big bound. I only have one copy of. but- Yes. Most of the information in there is word. A quote to do the siding and roof repairs and any other.
Okay. What are the wishes of the board?
They don't need to have a finding, just a motion on these. They can do our recommendation or do their own.
I would make a motion to follow staff's recommendation. On Eagle Crest Holdings LLC.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, the next one we have is a Skyline property.
Skyview.
Skyview,
Yes. It was on our formal protest.
Nope, they just showed up.
I'll just tell you which ones we have.
okay. What are the wishes of the board?
I know we've talked about this one an awful lot, but I do have one question. Is there anything that we can do from this seat to, it just seems odd that when that's all it's worth, when that's what they paid for it, how it becomes $90,000, the true and full. I mean, and it's more of a question. I don't know that,
Well, because officially we can't take those values. We can't tell what they got in those multiple property sales. If one is 25,000, one was 27, and we just know the total paid. We don't know the individual paid.
So is it safe to assume that they're being compared to folks that are subdividing 10 acres land into 10 parcels and putting 10 mobile homes on each and selling them individually?
If that was happening within the city limits of Tioga, yes, that could.
Because I mean, a
Yeah,
new
otherwise
65
it's-
might be 110,000 plus the land might be 140. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
throwing out a random scenario.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or motions?
I would make a motion to, how to word it, to follow staff's recommendations on, shoot, I lost it here now, on Skyview Estates Edition.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So
Sure. Oh.
obviously, without adjusting all mobile home values for all of Tioga, there's pretty much nothing we can do.
You could have us go out and re-inspect every one of those in Skyview to make sure that our, all the physical characteristics are right. Because we are comparing them to all the mobile homes in Tioga, all the mobile homes in Tioga had the same, are at same value.
So does it, I'm just trying to recollect what he said, because they're HUD trailers originally, does the craftsmanship of the building matter?
It does.
Okay.
It does have a base. So, Shauna, would you close that and go to the residential tab? And look at the grade. So the grade is the quality of construction. So this is a below average for a 2020 or 2015. So we have it that it is, I don't want to say substandard, but below normal. Because it is a mobile home, we automatically drop them a grade from stick built.
What's the high number?
E plus 600 or something like that.
Okay.
Which we do not have any properties. Mrs. Sheely's house is a grade 1 plus, just for reference.
Thank you. That's a good reference. Okay, any additional? Oh, go ahead.
So would the motion have to state and have staff go out and reevaluate, or is that just something you'll do?
We would need the motion to say that, because if we find any changes, we'll bring them back as assessor's errors or.
And the owners would have to be willing to allow the inspection.
Yeah.
Well, I would certainly add that to the motion to have, if that's okay with them, gentlemen, that get in touch with the staff and get together and see if we can't come up with a better solution.
And I'm okay with that.
Okay. So,
An on-site inspection.
that owner approval? Okay. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes. Motion passes.
Okay, I know Paul is next, but do we want to save him for last or
Let's just do it.
just do it? Okay.
Well, okay, Darcy, let me ask this. If we do make changes, would it make more sense then to save it to the last?
I was just more thinking of discussion time,
Oh,
but it's,
okay.
we can do them. It's fine.
They're here, so.
They're
we may as
here,
well
so
get
it doesn't
done.
matter. Yeah.
Save them some time. Okay, questions, comments, motions?
I would make a motion that we adjust them to back to egg value and remain that way.
Okay.
Second.
Until they become commercial.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are you good with that amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
what was the amendment?
Or until the time they become a commercial operation.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Motion passes.
And we had Chasen in Appam. Well, he didn't have anything to say about his value, so. Yes, yep, and I think he already set up an appointment.
So do you just want a motion saying, I would make a motion that we have staff go re-inspect the property and
approve, well, approve it as stated.
Bring back to the board through assessor error.
that sounds like what I was saying.
Is that a what you said moment? Yeah, okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ed Garcia.
Okay, and this is the same as Skyview, right, Mr. Garcia? Okay. Yeah,
They are, but they aren't.
yeah, yeah.
I would make the same motion that I've made prior, just, future, set up an appointment for future inspection and, get with the staff and
And the staff will come back to us if there's any changes. Yeah, yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Motion passes.
That is it for the protests. So, pages 4 through 10, and then this addendum that I have for you are all the corrections that we have found between local board and today. And some of them are the local board directing us to go inspect and bring any changes here, or things that we found afterwards.
Okay.
So if we could, on page 10, if you would change the finding and motion to 1 through 41 plus addendum number 2.
Okay, yep.
I move that a finding be made that the correction items number 1 through 41 plus addendum item number 2 listed above as noted in the minutes have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization. And I move that the 2024 true and full values of corrections items number 1 through 41 plus item number 2, addendum number 2 listed as above noted in the minutes be adjusted as recommended.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's a race. Pick whoever you want.
I did.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes, motion passes.
All right, the next 3 pages, we'll take care of the motions at the end. But the first is Blue Ridge Township. They held their local board of equalization meeting. However, they did not vote to find the assessment rolls equalized due to the appeal made at the local meeting. The appeal was left with no finding, and the property owner was directed to attend the county board of equalization, which he did. So we asked the Williams County Board of Equalization to review the assessments and find the valuations of property in Blue Ridge Township equalized or to make changes deemed appropriate. And I have all these books if you want to look through them. Bone Trail Township failed to hold their equalization meeting, and we asked the County Board of Equalization to review their assessments and find the valuations of property in Bone Trail Township equalized or to make changes if deemed appropriate. The assessment books and meeting information pamphlets were not picked up from the assessor's office, and no meeting minutes have been returned.
Is this unusual?
There seems to be one every other year or so. Blue Ridge has done this to us twice now. We cannot get in touch with any of the board members. They don't answer their phones or their voicemails are full. And after a while, I asked the commissioner for that area to intervene, which it worked on. Who did it work on? There was one township. It worked. I can't remember. It did not work for Blue Ridge. Or Bone
Bone
Trail,
Trail.
sorry.
You tried? Okay.
On
Okay.
their behalf, their clerk treasurer, Michael Tomey, passed.
Oh.
So nobody knows what to do.
Oh,
They don't even know how to answer a phone.
No, I tried to.
wow. Okay.
Okay, Ellisville did hold their meeting, however, they refused to contact us back with their minutes and assessment books. So we have brought them for you to deem them equalized. Which they are here, if anyone really cares. Next is the homestead credit. These are a tax credit, not an exemption for people who are 65 and older or permanently disabled that make less than $72,000 in a year. I have their applications for your review. This last year, the homestead credit was trimmed down in that there are only two categories, 50% or 100%. In prior years, there had been five different percentages. And also the income level was raised from a max of $42,000 to a max of $70,000, so. I just need the finding on that.
I move that a finding be made that all homestead credit applications have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization and find them proper as presented or corrected as noted in the minutes.
Okay. The next is the disabled veterans credit. This is another tax credit, not an exemption. Both these credits are reimbursed to the county from the state. Their applications are here also.
I move that a finding be made that all disabled veterans credit applications have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization and find them proper as presented for corrected as noted in the minutes.
Okay, and then we have our privileged exemptions. These are exemptions that get applied for every year. There is century code definitions for all of these, and this is how that percentage breaks out.
I move a finding be made that all privileged exemption applications have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization and find them proper as presented or corrected as noted in the minutes.
Okay, and then we had farm residence exemptions. We had 296 exemptions applied for this year, or granted this year. This is for active farmers, for retired farmers, and surviving spouses and farm laborers or vacant farmsteads.
I move that a finding be made that the farm residence exemptions for Williams County have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization and find them proper as presented or corrected as noted in the minutes. I move that the Williams County Board of Equalization instruct the Williams County Tax Equalization Office to verify that all farm residents located within Williams County either have a signed exemption form on file or have an assessment of record.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Beth, roll call vote.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Just for your information, and for transparency's sake, we include our office employee-owned properties. And now for the long one.
All right. I move that a finding be made that the commercial, residential, and agricultural property assessments in Williams County as equalized by the local boards of equalization and the Williams County Board of Equalization meets North Dakota statutes and guidelines for the State Board of Equalization as shown by the residential and commercial ratio studies and the adjustment worksheet.
Oh, I move that a finding be made that the commercial and residential property assessments within the city of Williston as equalized by the local board of equalization meet North Dakota statutes and guidelines of the state board of equalization as shown by the residential and commercial ratio studies and the adjusted worksheet.
I move that a finding be made that the assessment roll, statistical data, spot inspections, mobile home ratio study, and local Board of Equalization minutes have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization and find them proper as presented or corrected as noted in the minutes.
I move that a finding be made that the supplementary abstract of assessments, the game and fish abstract, the abstract of Board of University and School Lands have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization and find them as proper as presented or corrected as noted in the minutes.
I move that a finding be made that the protests and the corrections and changes as noted in the minutes have been reviewed by the Williams County Board of Equalization.
I move that a finding be made that the overall assessment rules for 2024 for Cow Creek Township, Golden Valley Township, Hoffland Township, Nesson Valley Township, New Home Township, Blue Ridge Township, Boone Trail Township, Ellisville Township, and Wheelock City Unorganized have been reviewed and find them proper as assessed or corrected as noted in the minutes by Williams County Board of Equalization sitting as the local Board of Equalization.
On to motions. I move that the Williams County Board of Equalization, sitting as a local Board of Equalization, declare the assessment rolls for 2024 for Cow Creek Township, Golden Valley Township, Hoffland Township, Nesson Valley Township, New Home Township, Blue Rib Township, Bone Trail Township, Ellisville Township, or town, is it, okay, and Wheelock City Unorganized, equalized as assessed or corrected as noted in the minutes.
I move the changes be made as noted.
I move based on the preceding findings and through review of the assessment rolls and statistical reports, the Williams County Board of Equalization declares the Williams County assessments for 2024 equalized as assessed or corrected as noted in the minutes.
Do we need a second and a roll call on that one? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Motion passed.
And now we get to set date and time for next year. It has to be within the first 10 days.
Is the third is a commission day already, right?
Yeah,
Okay, let's do the third.
10 a.m.
10 o'clock.
Do you want to go earlier?
I don't care.
I don't know if we can do that, because that, like if our other meeting goes over at,
We wouldn't normally have had park board though, and I guess
Well-
next time we just have to say no park board.
yeah.
Say 9?
Okay, I move the Williams County Board of Equalization shall meet on June 3rd, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the commission room of the Williams County Administrative Building.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bo,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes. Motion passes. And I assume we are adjourned, unless there's anything else for the good of the order.